The Microsoft Surface laptop series has come a very long way. This is the latest iteration, the Microsoft Surface Laptop 5. And one of the things that Microsoft is very good at is designing a very premium hardware that's sexy, sleek, and functional. In fact, all you have to do is open up the packaging and see the actual plug, the 65 watt brick, which has an extra USB-A port on there, so you can charge other devices without interrupting your workflow and taking up that single USB-A space that the laptop comes with. So it's very functional. It looks really nice. Let's delve deeper and see what this is all about. As I was saying, the build quality is very premium and it looks even nicer in this new sage green color. You don't get any stickers on it, just a minimalist, clean look. It has a nice slim profile and weighs next to nothing, so you can carry this anywhere you like without worrying about breaking your back. The keyboard is also really nice to type on, and although it's a preference thing in my opinion, it has a nice travel to it and can also feel a little bit soft when typing on it sometimes. And for me, it leads to making some errors more than anything else. The trackpad is also very large, which I find very useful when editing photos and when I need to pinch to zoom into things on the display. Speaking of display, it has an IPS touch display which has adaptive brightness and supports Dolby Vision IQ, and you can also see the 720p webcam and Windows LO sensors. The webcam hasn't improved from the Surface Laptop 4, although you do get AI helping you to stay in frame when you need it to, and you also get AI mic to ensure that the audio is focused on you, so when doing Zoom calls, for example, people can actually hear you clearly at all times. The display on this is Corning Gorilla Glass 5 because of the chassis format, but if you get the Alcantara finish, you would get Corning Gorilla Glass 3. And one thing you will notice straight away is that reflective coating that this has got, which means it reflects things a lot. In fact, you can see right now it's reflecting the light in here. So you can imagine trying to use this in broad daylight when you've got direct sunlight and all that kind of situation can be a bit annoying to use. If you're big on editing things that relies on color accuracy, you might want to look elsewhere as well, because with this, although you still get something like 95% of sRGB and 69% of P3, it's still not fully there when compared to its competitors. It's very bright to use, which is really good. You're looking at up to above 400 nits of peak brightness, which is really good. Overall though, I think generally it looks really good when watching movies. If you can ignore the bezels, the thick bezels that you've got on there. And this is also a 3:2 aspect ratio, which I don't mind, but it's not the one for everyone. Again, a preference thing. For refresh rates, it's limited to 60 Hz, which is okay for general gaming at lower settings. But remember that this is not a gaming laptop. It's not OLED either, so it's also not going to wow you as much as some of its competitors on the market today. But if you're going to be using this on daily use for spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff, I think this is more than enough and it does the job really well. As for sound quality, you get omnisonic speakers with Dolby Atmos support, so the speakers are embedded underneath the keyboard. I think it sounds fine, there's no problems at all. In fact, here's a sample. And then we've got the LED lights going on the back again with that claw design effects that we've seen before in Peugeot, all the new Peugeots. I like that design. And then the badge sits there as well with this black sort of finishing here, which looks really nice as well. Then we get all this plastic finishing all around here that gives it that SUV kind of look, that rugged look. As for ports, you will see that is lacking in that area as well. You get your Microsoft Connect ports for charging it up very quickly, in fact. And on the left side, you get 4 USB-A ports, 1 USB-C port, and your 3.5mm headphone jack. This supports Thunderbolt 4, which means you can connect this to external displays. So if you have 4K displays, you'll be able to connect this and just improve your workflow and productivity. Okay, performance. I think it's okay when it comes to the battery life. This will last a whole day and then some. So that's not a problem there at all when it comes to the battery life. It does get a bit hot though when it comes to using things like Adobe Premiere. So when under pressure, this will get hot quickly, and it goes just upwards of 40 degrees when I was using this editing on Adobe Premiere. Although I wouldn't say put this on your lap in that situation, but I don't think it's hot enough to burn your lap, so I won't worry too much about that. As for fan noise, it doesn't set off the fan noise too much. I think when it does come on as well, it's quite teeny tiny, so it's not too loud that it becomes annoying or become irritating for people around you. When it comes to the read and write speeds, I think they're all right. There's no problems there. But where I start to notice issues is when you run your PC Mark and 3D Mark tests. And with this, you just both run below the Office laptop region, especially for PC Mark. But when it comes to 3D Mark, it's running on par with your Office laptops. So this will edit on Adobe Premiere if you run in 4K videos, for example. I think it will do okay, but it starts to jitter and judder when it comes to playback, for example. So if you really need to edit stuff, I'd say drop it down to 1080p, then you'd be okay. Otherwise, 4K, you might struggle a little bit. You can still fire up Apex Legends on low settings, and it seems to work well with no issues, funny enough. It's running on Intel Xe graphics, so that could be the reason why. It's not as fast as the previous AMD Surface laptop, as Microsoft has opted for that Intel chip, which you have in here. It uses that 12th gen Evo certified Intel processor for the first time for any Surface laptop, and while it crunches all your data with no problem, it could be discouraging for anyone who wants to upgrade their Surface laptop for. I think the bottom line is this is very pricey for what you get. The lowest spec with i5 processor will cost you around £999, and when you push it up to the i7 top end with 512 gigabytes of SSD storage, then you're looking at extra £700 thereabouts to get something like that. And at that price point, you could get yourself a MacBook Air with M1 chip and even a M2 chip version as well. So that's that's food for thought. I think the pricing is a bit off for what you get. As for ports, you don't get many ports available here, and even though you get the 3.5mm headphone port, which is great, you don't get an SD card reader in there, for example. So if you're looking to take your memory card out and start editing photos, you would need that extra dongle to do that. Having said all of those things, I think this will probably be the one that I would say skip and wait for the next version, for example, because as far as this is concerned, the price point and what you get is just something that I can't recommend too much. I can't really recommend at all. It's a lovely laptop, looks really good, and would function really well for the workforce if you're going to be editing on the go and, you know, editing your spreadsheets on the go, editing photos as well. Lightroom, it will do that completely fine. There's no problem. You got touchscreen display and so on. But there are some bits there that I'm just like, this would be the first time I'll probably say skip this laptop and get a competitor like your Dell XPS 13, Apple MacBook Air M1 or M2 as well. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, drop them there as well. And if this is your first time around here, please do subscribe. I shall see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think.